Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Chantal and in this video I want to share my top 3 plants that you can start with now if you're new to plant care. I think indoor gardening can become quite overwhelming, which is quite the opposite to what we're trying to create. Indoor plants can be so therapeutic. The colour green is aesthetically pleasing to look at. We talk about how plants can be really good for our mental health, but if they start to stress us out, then it's kind of defeating the purpose. I think indoor plants are so accessible for anybody, and whether you have a small space or a big space to fill, anyone can start with having a plant or 2 or 100 if you would like to. The first one is a ZZ plant. So these plants, for me, they are statement plants, but also they are really forgiving. If you forget to water, they can thrive in lower light conditions, they can thrive in bright light conditions. Now when I say lower light, I don't mean no window, because I don't think, in my experience, no plants can survive forever in a room that doesn't have any windows. So I think all plants need some element of light. To water these plants, if they're in a plastic pot, just make sure you've got drainage holes. Just make sure you've got drainage holes at the bottom of your plastic pot. So how I like to water it is I take a bowl filled with water, I place the plant in to suck water from the bottom. I leave it in there for probably about 15 minutes. The reason I do that is so that the plant's not overwatered from the top, but also it just means that these little black flies called fungus gnats don't gather at the top because they're attracted to damp soil. So the soil will be damp from the bottom, so the flies are likely to stay away from the top. But that's another video for another time that I will talk you through my experience of fungus gnats. I tend to water this one, to be honest, I don't have a routine for it. I think I water this one maybe every few weeks, or really when I remember. My ZZ, often, you can see the leaves are looking a little bit shriveled if it needs a drink. But really it doesn't need a lot of water, it doesn't need a lot of attention, it's just quietly sat there in the corner, and I kind of know that I can forget about this lovely plant and it's happy. Another plant that I love that is a staple plant in my plant room is the Pothos or devil's ivy. Now I've got 2 different varieties. No, I've got 3 different varieties. Oh, I've got 1, 2, 4 different varieties, and I've got one behind me. I've got more than I thought initially, because they are so easy. Okay, so I don't think I've got more of them. Nope, that's it. So Pothos or the devil's ivy, I love them because they are really easy, and again they're quite forgiving. Just some dead leaves I need to pull off here, but as you can see there are so many different varieties that you can add to your space. And the reason I love these plants is because, well, various different reasons really. They are all different colours. This is the neon pothos, so quite a bright green statement plant. They trail really well over time. They prefer a bright room. They don't, in my experience, need that much water. I water mine probably every 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 sometimes. And a good indicator for me, there's another dead leaf, if I need to water, I know I need to water because the leaves curl in. And that's a really good indicator that it needs a drink. I would say I'm an underwaterer because I would rather underwater my plants than overwater. If you underwater your plants, then they will tell you, they'll give you some signs by curling in or shriveling up, and then you give them a drink and then they kind of come back up again. Whereas if you overwater, the roots of the plant will eventually rot. That will kill your plant and there's no going back from that. So this is another satin pothos. I love them. The leaves of this one feel quite waxy, but they're so forgiving. I did give this one a drink, I think it was last week, because the leaves started to curl in. But they are, again, just quietly sitting in the corner, but making such a huge impact and bringing all different shades and colours of green to my plant room. So if you don't have a pothos or devil's ivy, I'd really recommend you get it, because they are super low maintenance, easy plants to keep. Let me get rid of these pothos plants. I've got one final plant just for this video that I would like to share with you. And again, the next one I want to share with you go by so many different names. I would be interested to hear, I'll just put my grow light back up there. I'll be interested to hear what you call it. And the reason I picked this plant again is because it's just so easy. It's so forgiving. But again, if they can grow quite tall, they can add a big statement to your space. And that is the snake plant. Now, oh, actually, I've got a much bigger one that I'm going to try and pick up and show you. Mother-in-law's tongue, Sansevieria, snake plant. Do you know it by any other name? I'd love to know. But these plants are, I love them. They, again, come in many different varieties. They can thrive in a low light condition. They can thrive in a bright light condition. They are forgiving. You don't have to water that frequently. Again, with mine, because I don't want to overwater them, I pop mine in a bowl, let it suck up some water for about 15 minutes or so, and then it's good to go. And again, I find these leaves shriveling up a little bit if it's time to water, and there's a baby coming out there. But they are really lovely. This is obviously quite a small one. They're super easy to propagate, but that's a video for another day that I'll show you. But I've got a really big Sansevieria over there. I'm going to try and grab it. It's quite big, so bear with me. This is quite heavy. I told you it was big. So I started this one off when it was quite small, but it's just, this one's flowered last year as well. They flower, in case you didn't know that. But they are just beautiful, and to be honest, I don't even know when I water this one. Maybe every few weeks, if that. One key thing I'd say as well, for all plants really, is to fertilise during the growing months, but that's another video. I keep saying this, don't I? Another video for another time, but I've got so much to share with you, so it will be another video for another time. I need to dust these leaves because they are quite dusty. So this is my third and final plant that I'd recommend to anyone looking to add some low maintenance plants to their space. So if you look around my space, that you will see that I have a lot of plants that you might call the traditional, staple, everyday plants that most people have in their homes. The only plant that I have that you might say is kind of exotic, or that I'd spent a bit of money on, is my variegated monstera. And let me show you what it looks like. I started it with one leaf that was unrooted, so I rooted that leaf, and I'll show you what it grew into now. Variegated monstera that I started off with one leaf, and I am so proud of this plant and that I've grown it into what it is today. But I have a bit of a problem in that it's hitting the ceiling. I need to start thinking about shopping this beautiful plant, but I don't really know if I want to. And that's my only, I would call, exotic plant that I've spent a bit of money on with one leaf. I love rare and exotic plants, and I would one day like to add some more to my collection. But for me, plants and greenery help my mental health. It enhance my space. I want to have plants at the moment that are low maintenance, easy to look after, and plants that I know that I haven't spent a whole lot of money on, because I don't want to stress about a plant potentially dying if I don't have the time to look after it, because for me that just defeats the whole purpose right now of, you know, plants and well-being and mental health. I think I think that would just really stress me out, knowing that I've spent a lot of money on a plant and I have to keep it alive. A really easy, inexpensive way that you can start your plant collection is by propagating, and visit friends and family who have plants. Start your own, experiment, get it wrong, unintentionally kill plants, because that's how you learn. Another way to start your collection is just by getting a small cutting and just growing it into something big. This is what I've done with my variegated monstera. I propagated it hydroponically in water, and now I've got this plant that's hitting the ceiling, and it's so rewarding and satisfying that I've grown that from a leaf. If you have any questions, or you'd like to find out more about these plants that I've shown you in today's video, drop me a comment below. I'm always happy to share some tips. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.